Today I wanted a quick talk about these little guys, the standard 50mm lens. Now whether you go for crop or full frame, the 50mm is still really relevant. For me, I do like 50mm even on a crop sensor. I normally like one of these and maybe a wide or a wide zoom depending what it is. But these are overlooked so easily in favour of inferior, slower standard zooms that really don't compete in any way, shape or form with this guy, because for the same money that you could buy a very slow standard zoom, you can get a very fast 1.4 or 1.8 50mm lens that will beat it in every way. The 50mm lens, the standard 1.4, 1.8 Nikon zooms up from Canon or from any of them, the chances are their image quality will be better than the 1 or 2000 2.8 standard zooms, and they're even faster. For the sake of what? For the sake of a few steps forward and a few steps back. Okay, at the wide end, there's often situations where you do need a wider field of view, but really, having tried everything myself, I've found that I've started reverting back to basic gear, that I find that I'm happier with it. I can get the image effect, the separation that I want from the faster lens, that it has given me back the creativity instead of just robotic photography. And I have smaller, lighter gear. I have sort of tried mirrorless cameras, from the V1 that I'm filming this with to the A6000, but really when I put a standard 50 on one of my Nikon bodies, it's not much bigger, and it's much more functional for me because of the control system, which is much more easily accessible. So I would say don't run off and just think that you need to buy this lens or that lens. I did in another video discuss lens buying strategy, but I think that the old sort of rule of start with a 50 and do not move on until you've exploited every single thing you can do with a 50 still holds true today, more than ever, because in this day and age of lenses appearing left, right, centre, it's so easy to be buying equipment just because it's been available, just because you think you want it. But this guy can beat just about everything. And pound for pound, this is fantastic value, because anything slightly wider or slightly shorter that equals the quality of a 50 is 2 or 3 times the price. The quality is not any better, the image quality is the same. It's just a slightly different field of view. Doesn't mean that that under scrutinization that your images will be better. They'll just look different. They'll just have a different perspective. So it's always worth using them, even if you have a 50 on and you're stuck and you do need the occasional super wide shot. You can always stitch a few images together in Photoshop and actually manage to capture something if you're really stuck. I've done that many times. But yeah, I love my 50. This one is the 1.4D. I've got the G. I've got the 1.8D. I love them all. They've all got their good points and their bad points. This one is beautiful. The newer ones are slightly sharper, but they're a bit bigger. The 1.8D is cheap and cheerful, but it's smaller, it's lighter, it makes a great package. Another great lens for Nikon is the 50mm pancake lens, which is half the thickness of this, but it's a manual focus lens. But when you're keeping a body in your bag, say, without a lens on it, for hardly any extra depth, you can have a 50 pancake lens on it, so the camera's ready to use if you need to, instead of having it sat there with a body cap and that you have to put a lens on before you use it. So it's an expensive body cap, but it's actually a very functional one. So just a few thoughts on the reasons that you should never overlook the 50, and this is probably the most important lens in your kit. Back soon.